series, and this episode had 95 entries, which was crazy. Trying to break the 100 mark, because that'd be pretty epic, but we're getting there. So I've picked 5, as per usual, to kind of cut down on the video. And we'll jump straight in with number 1, which is the Mitch Shock Infinite intro by Zach, I believe, or Zactus. And this is it. Okay, so let's close that. This is alright. I don't think the text really fits in too much with the background, because you got this really kind of almost realistic texture on the logo, on the back here, and then the text has seemingly no texture at all, or if it is, it's kind of just a block color, and it doesn't really fit in too well. The font itself, if you're going for a kind of replica of I presume BioShock Infinite, maybe you should have looked kind of more what they had done. I mean, if I quickly look it up, probably Infinite needs to be in there. So this is probably what you're going for. And you can see their text kind of arcs around. You got these stars, you got this little bit here, and your one, you've got the shape sort of right, but the text looks like it's just very in there. It looks like you just put like a mo text in. You haven't really put too much effort into making the arc, and although it looks alright, it would have looked a lot better if you kind of tried to stick with this a lot more. You can see this is very vibrant. The text really fits in. It's kind of grungy like the background, whereas yours, the text doesn't really fit too well in with the background. And then it kind of jumps to this, which I don't really know. I haven't played BioShock. I don't know if it does this in the actual one. But this is kind of really kind of random compared to the other part of the intro. It's very kind of, there's one part then the next, so you kind of got to work on kind of blending two together and try to stick with the same theme throughout. But overall it's alright, but a little bit more work needs to go into it. The background's quite cool and these little particles are nice, but the text and the background are the main letdown because they don't really fit together. Next we have Relic Arts with the Saw Sniping intro. Someone also said that I should play through the intro fully before kind of jumping back and forth between it, so you get a good look at it. So that's what I'll do. So now going through, this is really nice, like the texture, and the motion blur really adds to it as well. You got these little glitch lines which actually work quite well, and the shake as well works nicely. The only thing I don't like about it is it jumping to this, especially with the sudden change in sound. And the font down here doesn't really fit in too nicely. But, I mean, it is nice. I don't know what this kind of line is behind here, but it kind of just distracts the viewer almost and doesn't really fit in too well. And then it kind of goes to this really, really clean 2D intro, which again doesn't really fit in with the very grungy logo here. So just like I said before, trying to fit two styles together is quite hard, so maybe just work on that a little bit. Next we have Haunt Intro V2, and I'll play it through here. so that ended quite abruptly, but this is quite nice. The blue glow maybe, again, doesn't fit in too well. And I think you've got a bit of texturing issue with your fracture. I think the easy fix would be to change the Fong maybe to 11 degrees, and that should fix the texturing issue. But maybe just kind of focus on that a little bit more. I really like these little particles here. It kind of looks like track code particular maybe. And I don't know what it is with today, but they all seem to have this kind of changing style. Which in this one it works quite well because they're pretty similar. But maybe because this is this logo is constantly moving backwards, maybe you should have made this move backwards a little bit as well, just to kind of keep with that whole theme. And maybe the size should have been more similar. But I mean, it's nice. This is good. Maybe a bit too dark on the U, but that's kind of me being a bit picky. Like the colours around it, like how you got this kind of cold at the top and slight warm at the bottom, but it's not too overpowering. Maybe move that down a little bit so that kind of hot spot isn't on screen. But overall it's nice, and yeah, the two styles blend slightly better together. Next we have hashtag purple swag. I really hate the name, but oh well. I mean, for something called purple swag, I would have thought there'd be a bit more purple in the intro. This is alright. Everything's quite kind of one after another though, and nothing too much happens. I mean, this looks like a logo's coming together, but then it kind of just breaks up and disappears and is never seen again. Some good techniques though, it's just everything's pretty slow. So maybe kind of speed it up, make something more happen. If you look at Trooper FX, some of his 2D intros are just crazy, like the whole screen is just covered in stuff happening. And yeah, you could learn a lot from him. Great designer. So maybe focus more on kind of getting a bit more involved with the whole screen. Finally, we have J Higo's 3D intro. So this is pretty crazy. We have some nice rendering here. It looks maybe like you're using Magic Bullet looks to get the blur on the edge. I might be wrong, but it kind of doesn't blend with, like, the blur doesn't really blend with the background that well. You kind of get these really sharp lines. Maybe that's because you're adding the blur to just the text, whereas you should add it to as an adjustment layer over the whole thing, and it should blend a little bit nicer. But looks quite nice. The reveal's nice. The kind of, this is good. The kind of shockwave, and might be a tutorial for that kind of explosion followed by slow motion. I'm not sure, but it looks quite nice. It does look like you've just combined a bunch of techniques into one, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe a bit too much shake makes it quite hard to read, and the viewer can't really focus on it too well. So maybe focus on kind of keeping the work clean, So it all works quite nicely, but overall it's really nice. Maybe it would have been better if you had something in the background, so the shake kind of affected that as well, because right now it just looks like a plain background, and then this is kind of just put on top, which kind of doesn't really give too much of an impression of a camera shake. Just looks like a logo shake. But yeah, so that's this week's episode. I say week, it's a bit late, but I've been kind of swamped with deadlines lately, and I've only really just got a bit of spare time to do this now. So if your video wasn't shown in this episode, then submit one as a video response to this video here, and maybe next week it will get picked. Again, I'll do 5 each week, so the more entries people submit, the less, well, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, submit a video if you want a chance for yours to be reviewed, and I hope you enjoy this series, and this has been episode 10. Thank you for watching.